What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio, transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho. I am the one-armed madman. And with me today, we've got the return of the great Daniel Steele, and we've got the great Gail Schuler with us. Gail, how's it?
Schuler.
Schuler. I'm sorry. I have dentures, and I miss my words up sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. I lost all my teeth,
So
unfortunately.
I can kind of relate. Boy, my goodness, what happened that your indentures?
Well, I got electrocuted working on power lines, and the thought is that I bit down really hard when it happened, and it kind of trashed my roots and broke a couple teeth.
Oh no!
Yeah,
You're so young too.
yeah. It was like a month before my 30th birthday when it happened.
That's too young to be indentures.
I know and they're horrible. They're horrible. So
I could imagine.
So usually it's been rough, but I've had some good doctors and some bad doctors, and we're kind of at a point now where I'm starting to feel better. It was a long injury. They told me it was going to be 5 years when it first happened to recover, and it took actually about 8 for me to start feeling better and start to remember everything.
Because I've been having a time just having one tooth pulled.
I know, man. It's rough. So I brought Daniel on the pod with us today because he's been, a follower of yours for a long time. So I kind of wanted to have him on to be able to have like a second dynamic. So I'm going to turn it over to him here for a second, and let's get into it.
All right.
First off, thanks for doing this, Gail. This is my 5th or 6th time on your podcast, Nick.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I've been. I found your YouTube channel in 2018, I think.
Wow.
So I've been tuning in, and sometimes you get a little busy, get to tune in. But my wife and I like to just check in and see what's going on in the world of Gail.
Cool. Well, that's cool. Yeah, let's just hope we have our. Well, I have faith. But things are rather precarious right now.
Yeah. So we kind of started in the pre-show. I was just kind of wondering what your thoughts were on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, and if you have any info that we might not have.
I think that Jesuit, that transgender cross-dressing Jesuit who pulled that off is disgusting. Yeah. I mean, he did that just because Trump is one of my biggest fans. That's really petty and low.
Yeah, I read on a forum, and I don't know if it's true or not, that you whispered in his ear to turn his head right before it happened. Is that true?
No, I didn't.
To get away.
I didn't even know about it when it happened.
Okay. Yeah.
It could have been Brent Spiner, but
okay.
I don't think Brent Spiner even had time to say anything. I think he just had to use his hands to just turn Trump's head.
Oh, so is Brent Spiner turning Trump's head to save him?
It was between Brent Spiner and... Oh my goodness, the brain control's been awful lately.
Richard Simmons had something to do with it as well, right?
Simmons, they're the ones that were the heroes that saved Trump.
How does Richard Simmons get tangled up in something like that?
Well, did you see my YouTube video?
I did, but kind of like for the sake of the audience who may have not seen it, I kind of like to hear it again from you, if you don't mind.
Apparently, Richard and Brent are great friends, going back to the time even when he worked on Star Trek: The Next Generation. And they used to, I think, work out together and, crack jokes together. And they met up on some phone call and decided to go out to a Trump rally. And that's how he ended up going. He was all excited, says, yeah, I'm all in. And he went. And then he was there and he saw the shooter. The mainstream lying news media did get his name right, and he tried to wave down Secret Service and say, "Hey, man, you need to do something about this guy." And they were all picking their nose and acting like nothing big was happening.
Yeah, it was like Uvalde, where they're scared of a couple gates, and we have to protect ourselves. And hey, there's a guy up there, but he pointed a gun at me, so I had to run.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they were so lackadaisical about such a serious threat. I think my men are still investigating the motives of the shooter. Of course, he got killed, so I don't know if they can figure that out. Maybe they can get memory reads on him. From what Brent has told me, he was just angry that Trump planned on giving all his votes to me if he got elected president, which I think is flabbergasting because I don't want to be president for many reasons. I've already goofed enough. I don't want to goof any. That's my husband's job. God, I've got enough innocent blood on my conscience. I don't want
to. All right. So I guess, how did you and Brent meet?
Oh, me and Brent?
Yeah, you and Brent.
Oh, that is a long story. Believe it or not, I wrote him through his fan mail when he was working on Star Trek The Next Generation. This was in 1989. Okay. I was in my 30s then, and I was married to a guy who was basically a crud. I didn't know it, but I was married to a Jesuit.
Oh boy.
And yeah, he was a Jesuit clone of the man that I married. They actually did what they call a gradual clone switch out on him. They actually killed my husband the first year of my marriage. And they used the gradual switch out process. And by the time I was in my second or third year of marriage, he had been transformed into his clone.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. So like one of the theories I've had about clones is that Jeffrey Epstein had that crazy ranch. I don't remember, it was Zorro Ranch or something like that down in New Mexico. And they were doing all kinds of transhuman experiments. And for somebody with that kind of money and those kind of connections, how hard would it be to make a clone of yourself that you could send as the dead person? Maybe not a living clone, but you could make a clone. If he had any
Jesuit friends, he wouldn't have a hard time.
Oh, and we know he does.
Okay, well, it's actually fallen angel technology. It's been around for a long time. Catherine the Great had a clone.
Wow.
Yeah, Jesus told us about it when he was communicating with us. That's why she has the reputation of making love to horses. Her clone did that. That wasn't the real Catherine the Great.
Interesting. So maybe that was happening in Rome as well, where one of those, one of the Caesars or one of the emperors, whatever, married his horse. That seems
it's
like it
possible.
Could be, you know, it seems like
I said, this is fallen angel technology. Those UFOs that are flying around out there, those are all fallen angels. They're all Satan's buddies. So, they got all sorts of technology they've been using on humanity for quite a while.
And do you think that maybe since the internet's more apparent and people can see things more often, we're just starting to wake up to it, whereas you knew about it before?
Oh, you're talking about me knowing about it? I didn't know about I didn't figure out cloning technology till I started working at Walmart around 2006. I started figuring out, at that time, my men were not able to connect with me online. Well, I didn't have the internet either, so that didn't help. But we did have brain-to-brain communication, which was fairly accurate. And Vladimir started it with me about 2003.
Okay.
And I started talking to them brain to brain. Brain to brain works where they use mind reading technology, where you can actually send your thoughts using like signals to satellites to a receiving and it's almost like a radio signal. And I told Vladimir brain to brain, I said, this is really strange. It's like my manager just did a complete switch out on their personality. For like an hour ago, they seemed normal, and now it's like they're a different person. What's going on here? And he started talking to me brain to brain. He said they'd been cloned. I thought, whoa. Yeah, so I figured it out through brain to brain.
So one of the scary things about brain to brain is if you can't control it completely, say that you start, communicating brain to brain. Let's say me and Daniel are communicating brain to brain, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. I'm still learning. Your brain is now open to receive from places that you probably don't want to be receiving from,
Tell me about it.
That's got to be a gnarly.
Oh, it's sometimes Satan will talk to me.
Oh, and you can't block him out. You can't tell him to go away. It's just there.
Well, let's just put it this way. When my Gail shield is stronger, I usually have better luck blocking him out. Okay. But yeah, you're right. It's frustrating. I don't like I don't like dealing with him. He's tricky, he's dirty, and and sneaky, and he's had a lot more experience at tricking. And, he's had a lot more experience dealing with humans and other beings than I have. I mean, he's been around for millions of years, and I've only been around since 1957. So, you know,
Now, can you explain the Gale Shield to people? And is there a way that they can utilize that themselves?
no.
Yeah, that's just you, huh? You're just
No,
special.
it's mainly designed to protect me. Apparently, I was born with it, I guess. It's actually an extension of Jesus. Jesus, right, is actually the multiverse itself. Yeah, he used to be a deity, but in 2022 he evolved into his final form. And he is actually the multiverse itself. It's kind of hard to describe him. He's above a deity right now. He's equal to his dad, God the Father. There are an infinite number of deities out there. Jesus used to be one of them. He was one of the higher ranking ones. And I guess as a result of what he went through in 2022, he has now become basically the multiverse itself, just like his dad. And what they can do is like compact themselves into a version where we can see them and communicate with them if they desire to do so. But he's basically everything around us. He is the multiverse.
Now, is there a power struggle between, like, I have a bad relationship with my father. We both think that we're right all the time, and you can't really convince us otherwise. Now, if you've got your son who is a deity, like you said, but then is able to, like, rise to power to be as great a power as his father, is there a power struggle between them?
I'm not qualified to comment on this.
Good
I'll
answer.
tell you,
Good answer.
I will say this much. I do know for a fact that they haven't been in agreement on everything, but I wouldn't call it a power struggle. Because I don't think God would tolerate a power struggle with his son. He's allowing Jesus to co-rule with him. So I wouldn't call it a power struggle. I'm certain that if he didn't like what Jesus was doing, he could probably handle it. I do believe that God the Father is omnipotent, all powerful. So he apparently approves of enough of what his son is doing that he's allowing his son to co-reign with him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And let's if we can go back to clones for a minute. There were when Biden came out of resting in Delaware or whatever he was doing, there were videos and photos of him much taller than he normally seemed. Do you think that was a clone that you're familiar with, or is that a different kind of cloning?
With Biden, who knows? There's so much fake news about him. For all we know, they could be using an automaton of him. He's not the president. I know for a fact that a lot of times when they filmed him, there've been props in the background. I don't even think he was at the White House. So the possibilities are endless. It's just total fake news around him.
Yeah, I know on his live address, I didn't watch it. I had many better things to do, but it was supposed to be live, but his watch was set to a different time than what was actually happening. And you think
he is bona fide retarded.
Yeah, so absolutely.
The rumors you've heard about that are correct.
Has been for 30 years.
Yeah, he's not very intelligent. I think he is bona fide retarded. And it didn't help that he took a shot that was promoted several years ago that made a lot of people retarded. I think he took several of them. So, yeah.
I venture to guess that this whole podcast is retard free.
Yeah.
Because of the shot.
Did any of you get the shot?
No. Oh, no.
Okay, then you're probably not retarded. But
no. Yeah. You couldn't pay me to put that poison in my arm. So I'm interested in the automatons. I'm a big sci-fi guy. I've watched every episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Be interested in the automatons.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to have one on my left side here.
Actually, Trump has kind of like automaton legs right now.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, because when he was, did you know that his wife is an automaton?
I
For
could
all
I
I
could see
know.
that. I could see that. Like a
Yeah,
sex
I think
robot.
they're probably not getting along very good right now if they're living in the same house. I don't know. And his original wife, the one that was human, wasn't much better. So,
So are these automatons, is this fallen angel technology? Or it's an interesting tie, I
no, it's
think.
all us.
I think there's an
It's all
interesting
nanotechnology research team. It's all us, Church of Gale technology.
gotcha. So my question then is, so Brett Spiner famously played Data in Star Trek. Did any of that technology or ideas like spur from that show, or did maybe the show
You would
take it
have
from
to
you
ask
guys?
the nanotechnology research team, and they are no
Uh,
longer with us. So
uh,
I don't know. Those are my allergies, I think. But yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, the scientists that created the automatons were very highly educated scientists. Okay, up on the latest in physics and everything, and they created them. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know how they did it.
oh, that makes sense.
Even though Sun Tzu seemed very eager to say that I was his creation, which I disagree. It was my idea, but the ones who actually created him, what actually it wasn't totally my idea because we had an automaton of Barack Obama in 2012. Barack Obama was murdered by the Jesuits brutally around the end of March 2012, and I guess to just keep up public appearances and cover up that all this happened, we created an automaton, what we thought was a good automaton of him. It looks like all the automatons are bad right now.
Yeah, I think Michelle Obama's running the show over there. I think she's the real power, or he, maybe it's an automaton. I don't know, but I think that there's a lot of
you
power
know,
going on over there.
I really don't know. I know. I think that I've heard that Barack Obama is gay or something. I don't know. Anyway, nothing is as it appears in mainstream news. Yeah, she could be. I don't know. Yeah.
So, can you
Yeah,
tell
but
us
then
a bit of?
if her husband's an automaton, he could be running the show too.
Oh,
So,
I don't doubt that a bit. I don't doubt that a
I
bit.
mean, especially if he's decided he's going to line up with Sun Tzu. I mean, for all I know, he might have eliminated his wife already if she's human. So I don't know.
So, why this had to be 4 or 5 years ago? You did a Church of Gale on clouds and how they were bombs. Do you remember that?
I yeah, I've made so many. I think I did make a video to that effect. Yeah.
My wife and I talk about it quite frequently, but when we look, we just can't really tell the difference. Are they all just supposedly bombs, or
Sometimes it's hard to tell because
yeah?
I know there have been a couple of times I've looked at them and I thought that looks like a nukkake. Because usually, if it's a nukkake, the cloud will look like a penis. Okay.
Okay,
But Jesus told me sometimes they just look like nukkakes and they're just regular clouds when he was with us. So
okay.
sometimes it's hard to tell.
Have you ever heard the
And the
theory
only,
that birds are
huh?
fake? Have you ever heard the conspiracy theory that birds are fake? That they're all
It's
automaton
not a
robots?
conspiracy theory, it's conspiracy fact. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
The
if you can
bird,
build a human automaton, a bird automaton, super easy, right? Like that
the
would be
bird
so much. And
automatons
then
have
you
been
got
around
eyes
for a
everywhere.
couple of years. We had and a lot of them are acting like spies and everything. Yeah, no, the birds died when Laurie McBride was the Antichrist. She worked with Satan to kill all the birds, gave them some sort of illness, and they all died. I'm not sure what the status is on real birds. We've been trying to grow them and make eggs and stuff, but the Jesuits keep thwarting our activities. Apparently, they like having their spy birds out there. So
Tell us a little bit more about the Jesuits. How did they get on your radar? Like, what do you think's going on over there? Because I've always heard a lot about the Jesuits, but I don't know like a ton about them. I know there's this secret, branch of the church that, hoards technology and hides knowledge from people. What else should people know about the Jesuits?
they're basically Satan's human army. Um, they have been around, I guess, since the time of Loyola in the 1500s, and They've been working with the fallen angels. The UFOs are the fallen angels. So they have all sorts of crazy technology and then they control the news media so that all this technology they're using never gets reported on. Therefore, they can get away with doing all sorts of stuff. The only news source that reports on them is Gabriel Chana, Fox News. 00 on cable and at my website. So they've been around. Their goal is to help Satan take over the earth. Yeah, they help him. And Satan has thus far gotten all of his antichrist from the Jesuits. He's working on trying to get me to line up with him, but I said I'd rather die first.
Seems like Satan's got the hots for you.
Yeah, I really don't appreciate that. I'm a married woman and he needs to go.
That's gotta be
I am
creepy.
not interested in him.
Yeah,
He already raped me.
That's not a stalker I would like to have, I don't think.
No, he's no fun. He's too smart, man. Having to deal with somebody like him, you're right. I'm not enjoying this one bit. No.
How does he contact you?
He can travel interdimensionally. Mm-hmm. He can just, as soon as the Gail shield goes down, he's able to come right into my apartment.
Oh, wow.
I hate it.
And well, are there things that you do to make the Gail shield stronger? Or is it just you wake up one day and it's stronger than the other?
If I give way to obsessions, okay, or I start acting on any suggestion that comes from an evil spirit, the Gail shield will fall.
Okay.
And they've been really good at tricking me. I'm hoping that I can get better at not falling for their tricks. I've learned that if I give way to obsessions, fears, or anger, I usually am in trouble. So I'm really trying to become a good Buddhist right now. Buddha has been teaching me how to avoid those things.
Smart. And Buddha's just another deity like Christ, but not as strong?
That would be correct? A good way to put it. Actually, before Jesus evolved to his present form, I think they were fairly even as deities. Okay. But now Jesus is above Buddha in power and everything. But Buddha is still his best God friend.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And
go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So do you with the Jesuits running the media, do you have any opinion or thoughts on Elon Musk buying Twitter and exposing a lot of that?
I am kind of neutral about that. I know he's a big fan of mine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He literally fainted when I mentioned him in one of my recent YouTube videos. That's how big a fan he is of me. I'm flabbergasted that anybody would faint over me, but hey,
So yeah. in your Sun Tzu Automaton audiobook, you guys ran into a mean pack of tunnel Jews down there. What's the difference between like Jews and the Jesuits? Are they connected in some way?
Jews and the Jesuits. Well, some of the Jews are Jesuits. Some of them, Jesuits will enlist anybody who's evil and wants to help them out. And unfortunately, a lot of there are some Jew clones out there that are very greedy, like the ones in that tunnel. And they'll work. A lot of them, some of them are Jesuits.
Interesting. Oh, where do we go from here? Tell us a little bit about the Church of Gail. How did you start the Church of Gail? And how many members do you have? How's that going?
That one has evolved and gone through many, many stages. It started off in 2011. Vladimir Putin created a Church of Gail. And that was because we realized we were dealing with UFO technology with the Jesuits. So we decided to get space age,
Yeah. Fight fire with fire. Fight fire with fire.
I guess, yeah. Anyway, so after the Quebec trial in 2011 and Brent Spiner got abducted by a UFO, we decided to go a little space age. So, we were able to get him back. I prayed to Jesus and said, please help my Brent. He wasn't my husband then, but he was sort of in spirit. And, I had him pray the sinner's prayer, and then the UFOs dumped him off in the desert, and, and we got him back. I was able to communicate with him brain to brain to figure out where he was.
Have you ever seen a UFO in person?
No, I never have, and yet I know they're real.
Yeah,
I think
I'm with you. I've never seen one, and I'm not sure if I want to see one or not because
I wouldn't want to see one.
yeah, that's
I
kind of
don't
where
like
I'm at.
dealing with any of them. I wish they'd all go away, but they're obsessed with me. Well, I'm sure they all know me. That's probably the reason they won't appear. So,
I've
yeah,
got
but
it.
yeah.
I've got a buddy
Oh,
who thinks he was abducted by aliens when he was a kid. He thinks that they came in multiple times throughout his childhood and they would take him in the middle of the night and do all of these experiments on him, stuff like that. Has anything like that ever happened to you? Or like, what do you think they're doing when they're doing things like that?
well, they probably enjoy studying human DNA. I mean, they are masters at human cloning, you know.
Yeah, that
And they
makes
create
sense.
all sorts of different clones. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing stuff like that.
Now, do you think so like we've got these UFOs zipping around our skies and stuff, and you think that they're Satan's army, which I am actually like on board with. I could see that something like that is happening. Do you think there are other planets with people on them that are kind of dealing with the same thing, or are we unique and like the only people out here?
Okay, if you're talking about this universe, I could be wrong. Yeah, especially now that we're dealing with automatons. But
Yeah.
I think in this universe, we may be the only planet that has humans on it. However, the moon has beings on it. We put, goodness, the brain control's been bad today. We put some sentient tacos and burritos on there, on the moon.
I think the moon is a wormhole, personally. I think that somebody created it a long time ago to put people on here, to put people down here on Earth and kind of, garden us in a way,
However, well, you
prune
got to
the.
understand, this is not the only universe. There are an infinite number of
Okay.
universes out there, and I'm certain other universes out there probably have humans and living beings on them. Okay, so but in this universe, the one that God almost destroyed, I do believe humans are only on this planet. The reason I think that is because he destroyed the entire universe and he got to Earth and we didn't hear about any other problems with humans anywhere else. So my guess is it's just in this universe, the humans are all on this planet.
Okay. Can you explain, like, to people who aren't familiar with your series, like how the Lizzo mite and all of these mites were able to propagate the universe and why God nearly had to destroy it?
From what I understand from Buddha, they've done this before with other universes. There is an infinite number of universes out there. It's kind of like they all exist interdimensionally. Um, uh, she just travels around and then lays a bunch of eggs when she saturates the universe with enough mites, and then reproduces and then spreads out to other universes. That's why God was so upset about this. And they're like the bed bugs of the multiverse. They're interdimensional. They literally eat at the fabric of existence.
What's the difference between a dimension and a universe? So is it like you have a universe, like we're in a universe, and then you have multiple dimensions within the universe? Is that kind of how it goes?
You know, I'm not a physicist.
Me neither.
And you're asking me a question of a physicist. I did one time out of curiosity, I kind of studied the dimensions. My guess is that we have to create portals to go from one dimension to another because I've seen the gods do it. So it's very possible that the other universes are kind of like alongside of us in other dimensions. Okay. Um, and you have to create portals to go from one dimension to the other. And to be honest with you, I am, like I said, I'm not a physicist, but I imagine that maybe around us are zillions of dimensions, and in each dimension is a universe. And maybe you could go far out in another part of this universe, and the dimensions might spread out. And I do recall Jesus once saying that the universe is expanding. So it's like the dimensions could be way, way, way out there, and some near us, and some far away. And there's an infinite number of universes. So we're just like a little speck in the whole thing. However, Buddha did say that when this universe got filled with mites, it was like taking out a room in God's house. So apparently, this was big enough to make him pretty upset when this universe got infected.
And to switch topics, we only have like 20 some minutes left.
Oh, okay.
We're moving.
When I first started watching your videos, Matthew McConaughey was very in the talk of your videos, and somewhere in between, I haven't heard much about him. Could you give us a little background on that, if you're comfortable, and then tell us what happened?
Oh, yeah, this Matthew McConaughey. See, back in the he came into my life when Steven Spielberg was making a movie based on a novel that I'd written in the 1990s called Silver Skies. And when I was working at Walmart, I was told brain to brain, which was correct, that they hired Matthew to be the lead character in the novel that I had written. He played Dor Ben Habakkuk, which was the Jewish rabbi in my story, which was actually patterned sort of after Brent. I wrote the novel to honor my love for Brent in the 1990s. And what happened around November 2005, I think it was, Vladimir was talking to me brain to brain, and he said he got a heart attack. This was, I think it was November 2005. And he said, oh, the lead actor for Silver Skies, he said, I know how passionate you are, Gail. Apparently he didn't realize that I'm asexual leaning. I am polyamorous, but asexual leaning. And he said, oh, I know how passionate you are, and I've had a heart attack, and I'm not able to give you any lovemaking. Can I let Matthew fill in for a month because he wants to do this? I said, really? I said, I can't believe this. And I looked at his picture and I thought, well, I said, Vladimir, you really don't have to do this. At this time, Brent, I had kind of shuttled Brent off. It's kind of complicated to explain, but after 9/11, I figured it'd be impossible for me to ever be with Brent. They did 9/11 to keep Brent from me, and did a pretty good job of making me feel like it'd be impossible for me to ever marry him. So I decided maybe I'd have better luck with a president. That didn't turn out too good either. So that's how he got in. For a month, he was my brain to brain lover, and he was interesting. He told me about his family and his Texas roots and everything. And he got really attached to me that month that he did brain to brain loving, and said he wanted to be added onto a marriage list. And that's kind of like when my marriage list started. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you say brain,
very shortly thereafter, the Jesuits sicked him with Camilla Alves, poor thing.
so when you say that, do you mean like brain to brain lovers is like having sex mentally? Is that kind of what? Kind of. That's got to be interesting, right? Like that's got to be strange. I've never done anything
like that, except with brain to brain loving, you actually get to feel the emotions and thoughts of your lover while you're having sex with them.
So it's a deeper connection than just physical
sex.
Yeah,
you get a pretty deep connection. And for somebody like me who's asexual leaning, I thought it was pretty cool. Because I'm actually more into the connection than I am the sex.
I had a buddy that was really into ecstasy when he was younger, and he loved to have sex on ecstasy. And then when he quit it, sex was like dull and boring for years.
He's probably like me.
Yeah, I could imagine if you had something crazy like that going on, that physical sex just wouldn't have the same appeal.
Well, it depends on your sexual preferences, Some people could never get. I'm the kind of a person, I have to have a strong connection with my lover to get into sex. And that's why I never get into Satan. Satan actually looks like an Adonis.
Oh,
he does.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I'm not turned on by you, Satan. You're too mean. He said, oh, I'm an Adonis. I said, I don't care. He said, you're not my type. Yeah. I had no connection with you.
That was the part of childhood's end that I didn't like. They made him look like the big red, but you're right. Satan would look like an Adonis, not a scary, disgusting thing.
He can take on different forms.
Yeah. I guess it would be
I mean,
useful to be able to appear
there
as
is
an
a version
Adonis
of him
or
that
a.
does look like that. You know that, what do they call it, that South Park or whatever?
Yeah.
That South Park Satan, he looks like that sometimes too.
Yeah.
It depends on how he wants to present himself and who he's trying to win over.
And how.
Like if he's trying, he might take on the South Park appearance if he's trying to like appeal to gay Jesuits or something, you know. But for someone like me, who's a female, he tries to be an Adonis, looking like a six-pack abs. To me, it's like looking at a pretty picture, but they don't do anything for me. I mean, even Jesus had six-pack abs. I mean, it's just not a big deal to me. Everybody's different, you know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It would be a very useful tool to be able to change your appearance, and because everybody's going to be influenced differently, right? Like if you wanted to influence me through evil, you would have to present yourself in a different way. You would have to present your case in a different way than you would have to present it to Daniel or to you, right? So yeah, that would be a very useful tool to be able to.
He thinks that I'm turned on by his Adonis appearance, but I'm not. I'm not turned on by him at all. And he's not a very good fake either. I mean, see, the reason he's able to get away with this is because I never see him. It's almost like making brain-to-brain love. He comes in this apartment, but I never see him. Yeah, he's in another dimension, but yet he's able to sort of like cross the dimensions to make love to me, and he can make me pregnant that way too.
Oh,
yeah, I don't. When he raped me, he impregnated me, and he had 666 babies. Yeah, I think he did that on purpose because he wanted me to be his Antichrist.
What happened to all those babies? What happened to them? Where'd they go?
They got aborted. We aborted them.
Oh, good. Well, that's good news. I mean,
no, I don't.
We don't want those little bastards running around, do we?
No, thank you. No, that's not the first time he's impregnated me either. When Zach Knight was the Antichrist, he impregnated me in 2012.
Oh man, you've had a rough go.
At that time, he was impersonating Jesus to me. Yeah.
How many Antichrists have you experienced?
You talking about sex, or
no? Just you say
Zach Knight when he was the Antichrist.
Yeah.
The next one after him was Angelina Ballerina. I had to deal with her. Boy, that was something. Okay. Then Laurie McBride. Those are the only Antichrists we've had so far. Satan's working on, I don't know who the current one is, or even if there is one. He tricked us into thinking it was Lizzo, but then he told us that later he admitted when he thought that, that the universe would be destroyed, he was honest with us. He said, "Oh, gross. I would never have Lizzo for an Antichrist. She's disgusting."
Pete Buttigieg would be a good one. I think Pete Buttigieg would be a good Antichrist. He, he's been calling Donald or J.D. Vance weird for saying something about cat ladies, but he was the guy that was wearing fake boobs to feed his kid.
Satan's got his hat set on me. He says, "You would be the perfect Antichrist." I said, "I'm not interested in the job."
Well, people owe you a thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
absolutely.
Daniel.
What'd you say?
I said people owe you their thanks, because if you were easily manipulated, we could be in a whole lot of trouble right now. We've had 3 failed Antichrists. I didn't know that an Antichrist could fail. I thought like the bringing of the Antichrist brought down the end of the earth, but it seems like these 3 have been defeated.
I thought the only one that could defeat the Antichrist was Jesus, because I used to be a Bible scholar sort of, and oh yeah, I tell you, I've had to rethink my whole approach to religion and everything as a result of dealing with Jesus and all his God friends and Satan and the whole crew, man. I've just really grown a lot spiritually, and I put a lot of what I believe now about the different gods in the audiobook that I just made. Yeah.
There's a spiritual war all around us at all times that most people just don't even recognize.
What was that now?
I said there's a spiritual war going on all around us at all times, good versus evil, that most people have no clue is going on. They just go about their lives. I have to
agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Yeah, that's true.
So everything kind of happening in the news, or what's going on with this election, is pretty shocking to a lot of Americans, I would say. but you've been in the trenches dealing with all sorts of wild things that maybe we haven't seen. Do you have any thoughts about what's going to happen next, or any advice for people who are kind of scared right now because everything's so scary?
You're talking about the automatons or Kamala Harris?
Well, I mean, are they mutually exclusive?
She might
You
be
know
one.
what? She might be one for all
She
we
might be
know.
one.
I don't know. I don't know if automatons can get drunk and high on drugs, because that woman is definitely drunk and high on drugs.
They might be able to fake it though.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you could
Yeah.
have a computer. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say just tune in to Gabriel Chana Fox News, do the Gail Commandments. Let's just put it this way. Jesus, when he left us in 2022, told us that he was infallible. Okay? He, as a God, has the ability to look into the future and know how various timelines are going to work out. Apparently, he I don't think any of this is surprising him. He left us so joyful. Brent said he'd never seen Jesus so happy. I mean, it was like he was just overflowing with joy. So my guess is he wouldn't have been happy if if he knew in the future that the automatons would take over his planet. This is his favorite planet. Okay, so knowing that, I have faith that they're not going to take over the planet.
I believe you that it's his favorite planet. One of the things that drives me nuts about sci-fi is when humans go to another planet and it's so much better than Earth. But it's like this is the paradise. We're never going to find a place out there as good as this place. I don't think, anyways.
This is his favorite planet. I'm not sure why, but it is a beautiful planet. Yeah, he's not going to he wouldn't have been happy when he left us if he knew this favorite planet would be destroyed and his humans would be destroyed. And apparently he knew everything everything that's happened to us. He knew it would happen. And he knew that in the end, everything would be all right. Look, there's one positive way of looking at it. It was the 19th when Sun Tzu threatened to destroy all the humans. It is now the 30th, and we're still here.
Yeah, that's good news, right? That's good news.
So apparently, something has come up that he's decided he's going to have to go back into his planning room. So
now,
I don't know.
Can you explain some of the Gail Commandments to people if they're not aware of them?
Yeah. You need to if a doctor prescribes Seroquel for you, you need to be on it.
I'm on it.
It helps. Okay, that's great.
I am.
That helps with the yeast.
Sleep
Yeah.
too. It puts me to sleep.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? Let me see. Let me get the Gail Commandments here.
Excellent.
Let me get it. Yeah, that's really important. Yeah, do the Gail Commandments. They're kind of. I actually have a page that I created on the Gail Commandments at my website. Let me see here. See if I can pull it up. No, not that one. Let's try this one. Let me see if I can explain it. Nope, not this one. Nope. Let's go back. Gail Commandments Explained. Here it is.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have a page. Can you take a link?
Can I take a link? Ooh, I don't know.
Can I post a link? I guess not.
Yeah, you can try.
It can go in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I can put it in the show notes. I don't know that I can put it up with. I don't know how to do that.
I'll explain the way.
I've never tried it before, so I wouldn't want to screw it up.
Thou shalt eat a balanced diet without concerns about allergens or toxins, using the method of calories in, calories out as a guide to weight management. That basically means don't eat any, just eat a balanced diet, like the 4 food groups. With me, I used to worry about having all these allergies, so I'd eat special foods and avoid other foods, and it was causing the diet to not be balanced. And I basically destroyed my guts by doing that. Yeah, it's too bad I didn't know about the Gale commandments back in the 1990s. I could have saved my intestines.
Right? Ugh, me too.
Thou shalt not toil in activities, even honorable work for the Lord, to the extent that sleep is sacrificed. Make sure you set aside 8 hours per night for sleep. We need our sleep for our health and for our mental health and everything else. So basically, if we do these Gale commandments, we will prosper and be as healthy as we can be. Another one is take time every day to self-groom, bathe. Like I take a shower every day, brush teeth, I floss too, stay clean, A lot of this stuff is just common sense stuff, but people, I guess, tend to forget about this,
Yeah, absolutely.
Thou shalt
I have a guy living in my
honor
house right now who doesn't bathe. I'm
Yeah,
in the process of kicking
he's
him
not
out.
doing
It's a
he ain't doing the
yeah.
Gale commandment, that's for
Nope.
sure.
It's nasty, and he's in the process of being evicted.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
See, well, anyways, take time every day to clean, wipe down laundry, vacuum, and dust your apartment or home, whatever, okay? Yeah, that's just because if you don't have a clean space, that's not very good. It's not good for your health, not good for allergies. If you have allergies, Thou shalt go on walks every day. And Jesus actually puts medicine in the air. So if you go out and walk, you get the benefits of breathing that in. Unless he made the day rainy or unsuitable for walks and exercise indoors with the windows open. I will say this much, I am almost 67 years old, and I started doing the walk one in 2013. And I am able, because I've been doing it regularly every single day, and even though I'm almost 67, I can go out there and walk 2 miles easily with no problem. Simply because I've kept myself in shape and, I'm getting my aerobics and everything else. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of people, when they get to be my age, they can't do that anymore because they didn't, they haven't been exercising all along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty nimble for my age simply because I've been doing that Gale commandment. So, if you start young and you just keep doing it, when you get to be an old fogey like me, you'll be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. I was in pretty good shape when I got hurt, luckily, and I'm still all right. I can still get things done.
You see
But
what I mean? That helps.
if I was in bad shape when I got hurt, there's no way I would have ever been able to do the things I do today without like serious gym work. And gym work is no fun with a prosthetic.
I could imagine. I mean, there are so many benefits to exercise. It's good for your health, and so it helps with weight management. It helps with all sorts of stuff. It's just really good for you, and it also helps keep you when you get to be older. It helps you to not lose muscle mass and all that stuff that happens to a lot of older people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it helps you with bone mass too. I mean, I've got small bones. It's very possible if I wasn't exercising, who knows? I might in maybe 10 years from now or even less, I might have osteoporosis, who knows? So yeah,
I was a dirt bike racer when I was young, and I was a skinny kid. I didn't have a lot of muscle on me, and I got hurt a lot, broke bones, wrists, ribs, stuff like that. And when I turned like 20, 22, I got a little bigger and started going to the gym, and I went from a novice rider to a pro rider within a couple of months, and it was just getting the body right.
Yeah, you actually look amazing for all the injuries you've had.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, let's see now. Thou shalt spend money only on food and bills. This is a really important one. I got in big trouble, I would say. When I decided to divorce my husband, I didn't have a job, and I ended up taking out credit cards. Jesus is against credit.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. When I was
usury is in the Bible.
He said Satan invented the credit cards. So he actually told me to rip them all up. He doesn't even like me taking out a loan like for a house or a car. I mean, he just doesn't believe in owing any money to anybody. He believes in savings.
Does he believe in Bitcoin?
Huh?
Does he believe in Bitcoin?
I don't know about Bitcoin. But,
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
Jesus' Gale commandments are you put money in savings, and then you don't touch that savings unless it's an emergency, okay? So it's like thou shalt spend money only on food and bills. That's it. Being mindful that spending money on a deal or impulse is not, in other words, don't go around and buy more than you need. He doesn't like you hoarding. Well, I've had to learn that the hard way. And just buy what you need. Like if you're a homeless person and you have a shopping cart, Jesus said you should only get what will fit in the shopping cart. Like in my case, I have a studio apartment. He said, don't buy anything more than what will fit in your studio apartment, and don't buy more than you need. Like I used to be a hoarder. It's kind of like this fear scarcity mindset I get into. Jesus hates that. It's like he wants you to just live one day at a time, right? I'm doing amazingly well in my studio apartment. Um, like I can do gourmet cooking. I just go buy small amounts of everything I need, like small packages of spices and everything, and I'm doing great. It's amazing. You listen to Jesus and you're in pretty good shape, whatever your situation is. So, yeah, food and bills. Um, don't buy more than you need or something you wouldn't have otherwise bought. Don't hoard. Thou shalt take only one multivitamin and one allergy medication per day. Okay. I used to take a multivitamin. I no longer do that. If I just eat a balanced diet, I get my needs met. But if you do need to take a multivitamin for whatever reason, don't take anything more than like one multivitamin. And when I'm on allergy medicine because the allergies are bad in my area, I'm on Zyrtec, but I used to be on all I used to take like 12 natural medicine supplements a day, and I destroyed my guts by doing that.
Yeah. A lot of people have gut problems. My family, some of the people in my family have just destroyed their guts from eating the wrong things throughout the years. And now their diets are so limited that they can barely, we go out to dinner at a restaurant when they come here and they're asking a million questions about what's in the food and
Yeah, I
can't
pretty
eat
much
anything. And
destroyed my
it's sad. It
guts.
sucks.
My doctor husband told me, he said, you'll never get full gut health again because of violating that Gail commandment when you took a whole bunch of supplements and ate strange foods and everything. But he said, we might be able to get you to like 80 or 85% back. But he said, right, he said, from unfortunately, because you did violate the Gail commandment, more than likely for maybe like a couple years, no matter what you eat, you're going to feel a little bit sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but to console me, he said, I used to be a chain smoker and I pretty much destroyed my lungs. And he said, but because I've quit smoking, he said, I've gotten back like maybe 85%. And he said, I'm pretty happy with that. It's a lot better than what I used to be. So I guess that's one consolation. If when you quit doing all those bad things, you can improve. You may not get back 100%, but if we just did these Gail commandments in the first place, then we'd be better off.
Yeah. I
Thou
hear you.
shalt store away a savings of at least $100 every month for the future. It's like I said, Jesus is against all forms of credit. He doesn't believe in taking out loans. He wants us to just put money into savings and save it for emergencies. Like when I bought a car, when my car went kaput and I had to get a car, he would not let me take out a loan for it. He just had me get a used car and pay upfront cash. That was it. He would not let me. That was when he was with us. So I'm just letting you know what he's like. Whoever sows sparingly, the more you can put in savings, the better. Save it for emergencies. Like I don't really need a car right now, but most people need one in this country. But
Hey, I only drove 2,500 miles this year. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Last year I drove just under 5,000. I had to get it oil changed once a year. This year,
yeah,
I'm not even changing my oil for another 6 months.
The only time I used a car kind of a lot was when I had a job and I had to go to work,
Yeah.
But I don't drive that much. So I figured, why get a car? They're so expensive. And since I don't drive that much, I just take the bus and walk everywhere. So since I have to do the Gail commandment walk anyway, it makes it kind of like I'm going on a bus adventure,
Oh, you know what? That actually reminds me. There was another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I really enjoyed your First Amendment audit at the bus stop. That cop came and tried to get you to stop filming. Oh, you can't have a body cam on while he's filming you with the body cam.
Oh, he was filming me. I didn't even notice.
Oh, he had a body cam on. Yeah.
Well, he was a Jesuit.
Had to be, right?
That
guy was out of it. And that Karen guy, big tough construction worker. Oh, I'm gonna call the cops because you're filming me. What a pussy, right? Ugh. Grow up, grow a spine.
He was a Jesuit too.
Had to.
Yeah, Jesuits are like that. They're disgusting. They're disgusting, man. They're like a plague on the planet, man. Yeah. Thou shalt make a YouTube video. That's for me.
Yeah.
See, Jesus wants me to educate the world about my life because he wants people to learn from me, from my mistakes and everything. So I'm trying to help him out. Jesus is a cool dude in my book, okay? And I'm really trying to help him out. So.
And on that note, we have to start wrapping it up. How many books do you have, and where can people find them?
I think I got like 10 books or something. You can find them on Amazon.
Okay.
And also, the Gail series is out, which is maybe my most important book yet. That one, I would go to 00 on cable or my website. I'm not sure if they've started printing it, but they are making movies based on that.
Oh, cool. You know, it's interesting with artificial intelligence getting better. Here within the next couple of years, you might be able to feed them your book and say, "Hey, make this into a movie." You know, that type of stuff is getting better. I actually heard a song the other day that I legitimately thought was a person that was actually artificial intelligence.
To be honest with you, as a result of what's happened to Sun Tzu, I have recommended to my men that we don't make any more automatons.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
And
why do we want to make his army bigger?
yeah. What's the best way for people to find you and support you that are listening to this podcast?
To find me and support me?
Yeah, just like, is it your website? Is it your Patreon? Is it your YouTube?
Probably
What's
my
the best
YouTube
way?
channel and my website.
Sounds good.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, my website.
Well, Gail, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Do you have any parting knowledge for anybody as we get out of here?
Most of it I actually put in the last YouTube video I made. So if you want to get my wisdom, I would go to Gabriel Chana Fox News, 00 on cable, my YouTube channel, and my website.
Sounds good. All right, Gail. Hopefully we can do this again someday. It's been a pleasure meeting with you. You know, I love your YouTube
and what
videos.
Was your name again?
What's that?
What was your name again?
My name is Nick.
And I'm
that's right.
Yeah, I go one-arm madman on the Zoom.
Oh, I
but
see.
yeah,
Okay,
my
so
real name is Nick.
All right.
Right on. All right,
well,
guys.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you
It was
so
a pleasure.
much.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you guys.
Welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.